Assalamu alaikum. Hi everyone. My name is Ahmed. I'm a former teacher at MIS. In this video, I'll be explaining to you mathematics, chapter 14 particularly from the book Pupil Book 1.2 by Collins, which is the third edition. In this book, as you can see in front of you now, the table of contents, we have around 17 chapters, but our main focus will be here around this area, which is equations, chapter 14. In equations, we have many different topics, but at the end of this chapter, you'll be able to know how to solve simple equations. Second, know how to set up equations and solve simple problems. Before I start explaining this chapter, you need to know that you have to be able to already perform or write and use expression prior to this chapter. Another thing is you know how to substitute numbers into expressions to work out their value. That's before, not now, okay? And how to write and use simple formula. So this is what you should have learned before. And now let's move to chapter 14, equations. All the best vlogs. Stay tuned and focus. Thank you. Before we start revising for chapter 14, there are some terms that you need to understand, the meaning behind these words. First word is equation, okay? This is a special vocab used to describe a mathematical statement that two expressions are equal. That means two sides after the equation mark and before the equation mark or the sign. A solution of an equation is a value of the variable that makes the equation true. That means this variable has a value. What is the value? After you subtracting, division, multiplication, or doing the addition. To find solution, we need to isolate the variable, guys, okay? A variable is isolated when it appears by itself. That means no coefficients, no addition, number, no subtraction, nothing. Just a variable by itself. Now, let's go to the practical examples. Now, before we start working on our examples, practical examples, on how to solve them, we need to understand the rule, the way that we need to use to actually solve these examples to find a value of a variable. We use a method called inverse operations, okay? In inverse operations, you will do an operation that undo the other operation. For example, if you do an addition with a variable, you have to do subtract on both sides, okay? If you're adding to the variable, then subtract. If you're subtracting from the variable, then just add. Sometimes you have to add the opposite. If multiplying to the variable, then divide. If dividing the variable by something, then multiply by the reciprocal. These are the rules that we use to actually find a value of a variable in a simple equation. If I move forward now to examples using addition to solve, the same thing, guys, okay? The first example is x minus 9 is equal to minus 17. X minus 9 is equal to minus 17. What do? We just add 9 at both sides, or we move the opposite of this number. Here we have negative 9, we move it with a positive 9, okay, to the other side. But I'm still using the inverse operation, so I'm going to add, as here we have a negative, we're going to add plus 9 to both sides. So plus 9 here is 0, plus 9 here with this negative sign for 17 is going to be subtraction, okay? X is equal to minus 8, and the sign goes for the biggest or number here, which is 17. Minus 17, so we keep the sign for the biggest number and we just subtract whenever we have different signs. Now, how to make sure that this answer is correct? First of all you have to do just put the value of x in the real equation or the actual equation, original one, and you can find the actual answer exactly the same here. It's minus 17 equal to minus 17. Now I would like you to try and check this next example, which is x minus 12 equal to 13. It's simple, you just have to use the same thing, but first focus that this number has a negative sign. So all we have to do is just add 12 to the both sides. If I add 12 here, it's going to be equal to x equal to 13 plus 12. The answer is x equal to 25. All right, head back to your book, page 268, and try to answer exercises 14a, exercise number 1, and exercise number 2, and exercise number 3. These exercises are all based on the solving equation using subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, here we are with some examples for simple equations and how to solve and find a variable, a value. The original equation here is x minus 3 equal to 5. If you refer back to your book, page 268, You can find some exercises in this page, exercise 14a, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and these are very good examples and exercises to practice by yourself at home. But first, let me answer for you some examples here. So x minus 3 is equal to 5. Learning that, we need to use inverse operations methods. So we need to add plus 3 to both sides. If I add plus 3 here to minus 3, is going to be 0. If I add plus 3 to the other side, it's going to be 8. So add 3x equal to 8. What happens if I have an addition, a positive sign with a number beside the variable, x plus 6 equal to 10? All I have to do again is doing the inverse, that means the opposite operation. If I have a plus here or a positive, I go for a negative sign for both sides with the same number, okay? So I do here the same, subtract the same number from each side. That means minus 6 with plus 6 is 0, 10 minus 6 is 4. So the answer would be x equal to 4. For the next two examples, it's just how you can actually simplify and find a variable without doing the inverse operation. So simplify one or both sides, x equal to 8 minus 3. Simple operation, just 8 subtracted by 3 is going to be 5. X is equal to 5. Okay, now after we understood how to solve equations, simple equations, and find the variable value by using subtraction and addition, now let's move forward to have the next step, which is finding the variable value by using multiplication and division. Okay, just like with adding and subtracting, we need to undo what is done to x using the inverse operations. Okay, what does that mean? It means when you have a multiplication, you have to undo it by division for both sides. Okay, when you have multiplication, you have to undo it by division. Remember that a fraction bar, this is the fraction bar, that means the bar between a number and a letter is actually means division or means divide. Okay, example, this example here, x over 3, means that x divided by 3, x is divided by 3. Let's have more practical examples from the next page. Okay, examples. We need to solve each equation, which is 2 multiplied by x equal to 8. Okay, and here we have multiplication. Okay, whenever there is no signs between the variable and the letter, that means it's multiplication. If we have a bar, that means it's division. For the next one is 12.9 equal to minus 3.2b. That means 3 minus 2 multiplied by b. How can we answer these questions? Okay, let's move to how we can answer them. Okay, here's an example on how we can solve a simple equation that has a number multiplied to a variable. So 2x equal to 8. 2 multiplied by x, we have to do the inverse operation. That means we have to divide the two sides over 2. Okay, both sides over 2. So 2x divided by 2 is equal to x, which is 1x. We don't write 1. Equal to 8 over 2, which is 4. So x is equal to 4. As simple as that, guys. You do the inverse operation. For the next example here, we have 12.9 equal to minus 3.2b. What we do again here, since it's a multiplication between 3.2 and b, we have to do division for the same with the same number. So we divide both sides with 3.2. So 3.2b divided by 3.2 equal to 12.9 divided by 3.2. 3.2 over 3.2 is 1. So we already isolated the variable. The next step is just simplify this fraction. 12.9 over 3.2 is equal to 4.31. So b is equal to 4.31. You can either write it this way or you can actually change the sides. Okay, so b equal to 4.31 or 4.31 is equal to b. Forward to an equation that has a division, divided number to the variable, as you can see here, y over 3 equal to 2, 5 equal m over minus 4. Again, the same method, which is inverse operations. We have division here, so we have to multiply by the number that's connected to the variable. Remember, this bar means division. So we have to actually multiply both sides by 3. Okay, so 3 multiplied by y over 3 is y, equal to 2 multiplied by 3. So the answer is 6. Okay. Okay guys, that was pretty much everything about how you can solve a simple equation that contains multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction to the variable. These exercises, as you can see in front of me right now, they are actually in the book. You can go through them after you watch this video and answer them by yourself to make sure that you understand this lesson. It's really easy. For the first one, exercise 14a, page 268. For the first exercise, you have to work out the number that each letter represents. So again, a variable, a number, and you need to work out the value of this number, okay? Of this variable, you need to find the value of this variable. We have 5 plus x, so there's a plus here, addition. You need to subtract. Remember, whenever you have an addition, just subtract. It goes for the rest, or it applies for the rest of these exercises here, okay? For the second, number 2, work out the number that each letter represents. The same thing, but the operation here is different because we have a variable with a number which is a multiplication. So 5 multiplied by x, 2 multiplied by v. What we need to do now, as I explained before, all you have to do is inverse operation. That means you need to divide over the number that comes with a variable. So here 5, divide over 5, divide over 5. Two sides, okay? Number 3, you have to work out the number that each letter represents. So the same thing, here we have subtraction. We're going to reverse or inverse, do the opposite to undo this operation by adding, which is an addition. That means plus. So minus 7 here is going to be plus 7 for 9. Minus 2 here is going to be plus 6. So 6 plus 2 is 8. 8, a is equal to 8. Here we have a is equal to 16. C is equal to 14. Okay? D is equal to 8. Sorry, 10 here because we have a negative sign. We move it or we reverse it. It's going to be addition. And that's everything. Thank you for watching. I hope the video was beneficial to you. Just go through your book and work these exercises. They're really important as they can enhance your ability to answer or target these simple equations with a variable, especially when it comes to multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting. Thank you for watching and wait for the next video.